Hello everyone, I am Renowned Zero, and today we're going to be talking about some clips made by a channel called Turf Nation. And right away, I'm going to say do not go and harass or comment on any videos or dislike any of their videos on YouTube. Keep all your comments in the comment section down below. Go through a couple clips of him talking about Airrick July. He is the co-founder or the founder of the Fandom initiative. So we'll start with this clip where he says Airrick July discriminates against trans people just so he can gain power and make money, which I highly doubt that, because he literally always says you can do what you want and be a weirdo. He thinks your lifestyle is goofy. That's kind of what he says, and he's allowed to say that. So let's jump right into it.
However, despite this evidence, many people still believe that transgender people are wrong and that children are suffering because of it, and that people who transition are just delusional. And it's because so many
Most times, yes, they are delusional. It is a mental disorder called gender dysphoria. The only difference is now we've kind of normalized this mental illness. Although there are trans people out there that aren't with the nonsense that these trans activists are for, like mutilating children and changing their gender and all that stuff. So there are some normal people who are trans who just want to live their life and not want to do harm to children. Those types of people exist.
people don't know about this evidence. They haven't been taught, or they haven't read any of it, and that's what happens when the other half of the political spectrum has leaders who simply don't give a flying fuck about trans people or else.
Matt Walsh saying, I believe that gender ideology is one of the greatest evils in human history. There's nothing that they can threaten that would make me back down from this fight. I'd rather be dead than surrender to this madness. It's as simple as that for me. Basically saying that you shouldn't be pushing this nonsense and fake shit onto children. They're very impressionable minds and they're innocent. Stop it.
LGBTQ plus people in general. I'm almost positive that people like Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh know what they're doing.
They're essentially Christians, or at least Jen Shapiro's Jewish, so he doesn't believe in this nonsense, and I'm sure Matt Walsh doesn't believe in this nonsense, so come on now. The difference between sex and gender is that I have never wanted to have gender with my sister.
They know that sex and gender aren't the same thing. They know that transgender people aren't.
They may not be the same thing, but they're not interchangeable. Point blank, period. It's weirdos like you that think that these things are interchangeable. If you are a male, you are a man. If you are a female, you are a woman. There is no interchanging any of these. It's just biological facts that you weirdos fail to recognize.
Aren't even remotely as dangerous as they make them out to be. And they know that all this evidence exists that completely counteracts all their arguments.
Yes, because people in the medical field can't be wrong. Because, humans can't lie or anything like that. People can't make shit up as they go, right? Meanwhile, biology is real, and the things that they're saying about this is not.
This is why they try to instill distrust towards the state and universities and scientific organizations, because they need.
No, because they're paid and bought for by the state, by the federal government, to dish out propaganda that isn't real.
Their audience to believe that all the evidence that proves them wrong is fake. It's fucking cowardly.
Because it is. It's not based in factual science. It's based on a bunch of bullshit.
This is all in an attempt to gain power. They don't care who they fuck over.
Has nothing to do with gaining power, my dude. It has to do with not allowing weirdos like you to essentially warp the minds of children.
If they have a chance to discriminate against trans people and to make the lives of these people worse, just to gain a little bit more power and money from their ignorant supporters, then they'll do it without hesitation.
That's definitely not what Airrick July or Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh should do. These are all factually incorrect statements. That is a factually incorrect statement.
And so that brings us to this video by Airrick July titled, "This is not a laughing matter, trying to normalize bad behavior." And
Yeah, it's called propaganda, my dude. Again, you're an idiot.
And remember, this is all because of a sign in the background of a trailer that says protect trans kids.
Because trans kids don't exist, and this is a movie that is targeted towards young children. And you're trying to be evil by putting this in front of a child and them being confused about who they are.
Apparently wanting to protect trans kids by trying to create a
There's no such thing as trans kids. This just tells me that you're a fucking moron.
society in which they won't be discriminated upon based on their gender identity, and by preventing them from hurting themselves or being
Gaslighting, essentially.
hurt by others through acceptance
But my self-harm and protect... Shut up.
and acknowledgement is somehow normalizing bad behavior. And trust me, the reasoning he
Yes, y'all trying to normalize something that is not legitimate. Something that is not real. Something that is delusion.
uses in this video doesn't justify him saying this whatsoever. However, I want to start by saying that Airrick July has been milking this. His first video on the topic made like double his usual views, and since then he has already made multiple more videos about it. He just sees
It's called monetization, bro. It's called being a YouTuber. Making content. What a freaking concept.
this as an opportunity to shit on people, letting his fans go comment on the videos of the people calling him out, and as an opportunity to make a lot of money by shitting on trans people. And by the
No, he's shitting on the ideology that you're trying to push onto children, which is weird.
way, you can tell that this is all just a money-making opportunity for
He literally always says that you can live your life when you're an adult and you're 18. You can choose to do what you want with your body. But stay away from the kids.
him, because despite naming his video, "This is no laughing matter," he's
Because it's not.
laughing at the start of his video.
Yes, he's laughing at the fact that this is in a kid's film. Which it shouldn't be. Next clip. Airrick July does not want to get rid of this representation in media because he would not have anything to talk about. That is like the farthest thing from the truth, because he talks about video game news, socio-political issues, and a whole bunch of other things that have nothing to do with this. So you're already wrong. This is how I know you don't watch Airrick's content, just like Dane and just like Bob. None of you idiots actually watch Airrick's content. So once again, another dumbass in the Fandom initiative talking about a person that they do not do any research about or research any of the content they actually make.
Video.
Now, I know this is going to be one of those where people are like, oh, you're just ragging on this because...
This topic is not serious to him. He's not actually concerned about anything.
I can tell you right now, he's 100% concerned. He's been talking about this well before they put this in the Spider-Verse movie. But again, y'all do no research. Y'all don't watch this content, so you wouldn't know that.
He just sees an opportunity to make money. Because we all know that channels like these don't actually want anything to change. They don't want to get rid of LGBTQ+ representation in media, because then what the fuck would he make videos about? His
Socio-political issues, the Access Media not talking about his comic book, him essentially talking about his updates with his Rippaverse comic. I don't know. Do you even look at the man's channel and know what he talks about? Clearly you don't.
His comic book is literally built on the fact that it destroys woke comic books. Without these things, he'd be no one. No one.
There's so many things that Airrick July has a dog in, a fight in. He makes music. He ghostwrites. He makes gaming content. He streams on Twitch. There's a lot of things he can talk about. Why do you think he can make content every day without you fools? Y'all sit here and make content about him, and he ain't making content about you guys. He's making content about literally anything else. that's important to him. He has said it before. He only makes content on things that he's knowledgeable on.
One would care about him. However, he'll still spread lies and misinformation in his videos, saying things that can genuinely put trans people in danger because they're being
No, he didn't. I can tell you right now you're lying. Because I've watched that video and you're lying.
framed as child mutilators. But let me just show
Because it's going on right now. It's literally happening, and you're the type of person that doesn't think it's happening.
you some examples. And again, check out DJ's video or this video by Cirrus if you want more in-depth coverings. You don't hate that we need to have this discussion, because this is how you make money. Let's not trick your audiences into believing that the reason you're making this video is because you genuinely care about the children in question.
He actually does. He actually does.
When it's really because it makes you a lot of money. We can see your insincerity from a mile away. You also target the notion that, quote, this is something that needs to be normalized, which it absolutely is. It
Y'all been trying to normalize this weirdo behavior for a long time.
makes no sense for you to disagree with this. Sometimes kids are gay. Sometimes
No, kids are not gay.
kids are trans.
No, they're not. That is called a groomed child. That is called a groomed child. That is something that is taught by an adult that they absorb because they are literal sponges. Children can't even figure out how to dress themselves, or what cereal they want to eat, or what toy they want, but somehow they know that they're trans. You're a fucking idiot. Just like everybody in the Fandom Initiative, you are all idiots, and you surround yourself with idiots.
There's nothing wrong with this, and by creating accepting and affirming social spaces for these kids, it will allow them to explore who
You're affirming a mental illness that you're instilling on them, confusion that you're instilling on them.
they are in an environment that's safe. Again, let me go back to the evidence that
An environment that would be safe will be away from public schools and the indoctrination camps, and away from groomers, and away from pedo-adjacent teachers. That's where they would be safe. It's called homeschooling. It's called homeschooling.
its social and physical transitioning, as well as affirming social spaces, greatly improves the well-being of trans.
This is the same trash stuff that Suri's pulled up when he was talking about this exact same thing. Literal NPCs. That's what this is. Literal brainlets and NPCs who read the exact same bunk information.
People, and especially trans kids, while views like yours that
No such thing as trans kids.
promote unacceptance and prejudice are part of what reduces psychological well-being for trans kids and can lead them to hurt themselves. And that's why protecting
No.
trans kids is a message that should be normalized. You also mentioned that puberty blockers are irreversible, but you give no
They are.
evidence. You
Yes, he does.
mentioned that young people get irreversible surgeries, but you show no evidence. And listen, we can get into the discussion of top surgery or double mastectomies if you want, but it's a pretty common surgery done on teenagers who have, for example, breast cancer, and even
Gaslighting. Perfect example of gaslighting.
for teenagers whose breasts are too large.
There's no such thing as teenagers with too large breasts. Are you fucking stupid? That is irrelevant. That is completely irrelevant. Holy fuck. Airrick July never shows evidence because his conservative fan base already have their mind made up. He makes a living from lies. Yeah, definitely conservative fan base. I'm pretty sure he has a mostly libertarian fan base. It honestly doesn't matter what kind of fan base he has. He definitely has a more loyal fan base and more intelligent fan base than you will ever have. And I can guarantee you're jealous about that.
Are too large. At the end of the day, top surgery is cosmetic and it can be reversed.
You cannot reverse a double mastectomy.
Surgery, on the other hand, is a whole other discussion, but bottom surgery is not done on kids. It's the lack
Yes, it is. It literally is.
of understanding towards the topic that Airrick makes a living off of that really baffles me. You also mentioned that the quote, hormonal stuff can absolutely have issues, but you don't explain
Yes, yeah, it can.
what, how, or why. You literally
He's done multiple videos on this already, my dude. Once again, you take a video where he doesn't show it, but he's showing it previously in multiple other videos.
just use your ignorance towards trans issues, gender dysphoria, and gender-affirming care to say shit like child mutilation, because this is
Because that exists. That's what people are literally doing. That's what double mastectomies and bottom surgery are. Child mutilation.
what your conservative fan base already believes in.
Once again, it doesn't really matter whether his fan base is conservative, libertarian, liberal, or whatever. Which I'm pretty sure a majority of his fan base is libertarian. So, another lie by you, because you don't actually know anything about his community whatsoever.
I mean, who needs evidence when you can just lie about all the scary stuff being done to children?
That's because his audience is actually intelligent, unlike you or anybody in your stupid community.
And people, I mean, at minimum, even if, no matter who you are, at minimum, we should be able to accept that, look, the children should stay away from that. This is not something that needs to be, if they want to make that decision as an adult, you can, of course, are free to disagree or agree with it. However, you know, that's their ultimate decision to make as an individual and as an adult. That doesn't mean everybody has to agree with it. That doesn't mean everybody has to like it. They can think you're a fool, but it's your body, and if you want to do something goofy like that, that's your business. But that's not what it is that we're discussing, and that's not the angle that these people are taking. They are going after people's children.
No one is going after people's children.
Yes, they are. There have literally been cases where children have been taken away by CPS because they do not agree that the child's gender is what the child thinks they are.
No one is forcing children to take puberty blockers and go through transitioning. I mean,
Oh, yes, they are. They actually are.
you can probably find a couple of examples of this, but you can find examples for everything. However, the large majority of people who advocate
By the way, these people are stupid as well.
for trans rights are not trying to force people into becoming.
No shit. The trans rights are human rights. What rights do trans people not have that everyone else has? It's the same stupid argument about, oh, women don't have these rights. Yeah, what rights don't they have that everyone else has?
Transgender. It's about making life better for people who are trans, including children who often from a pretty
There's no such thing as trans kids. You keep bringing this up, and it's a factually incorrect statement.
young age have an understanding that there's a disconnect between their gender and the sex that they were assigned at birth,
You're not assigned a sex at birth. You are born a sex at birth. You fucking retard.
as well as the social norms that they have been assimilated into due to their assigned sex. You're saying keep
Sex is not assigned, once again.
children out of it as if the reason trans kids exist is because adults are
Trans kids don't exist.
forcing them into it through their trans ideology.
Because they are. There's literally been multiple videos from accounts like Libs of TikTok that have shown this exact thing.
And not because trans kids simply exist,
Which they don't.
which is the truth of the matter. It's
They don't exist.
not about bringing children into it. Trans children
There's also no such thing as non-binary youth either. This is stupid.
are already
This crap makes my brain hurt.
in it. It's now a
Eric July uses words like weirdo, goofy, disgusting, degenerate because he hates trans people. Literally just had a clip where he said you can be who you want to be as an adult.
now about making life better for trans kids. And also, I like that you say that it's fine for adults to be transgender because it's their choice, but you constantly use words like weirdos, goofy, disgusting, and worst of all, degenerates.
Because he's using them factually as the definition say. Yes, it is quite goofy, but yes, you are allowed to do what you want with your body. It's the truth. He uses the words correctly.
which is a word that has very often been used to label and outlaw minorities. So at least stay true to what you believe and use to label.
Having lost the physical, mental, moral qualities considered normal and desirable. Yes, because it is a mental illness. This is correct.
Label and outlaw minorities. So at least stay true to what you believe. If you hate trans people, then say it like it is.
He doesn't hate trans people, though. You want him to have that position because that's the type of person you are. You probably hate trans people, are probably projecting onto Airrick July.
Because obviously, you do. Don't try to do this moral bullshit of simply caring about the children. Because while you might be fooling your audience, you're not fooling me.
You're not fooling your audience. He's telling the truth. Talks about this. This isn't the first time he's talked about this, you idiot.
Not just normalization through culture, but they're using children to validate themselves.
Which they are.
And their line of thinking. And that's where it becomes disgusting. There's no such thing. When I hear people, the fact that we're even having this discussion, trans kids, that's not a such thing, dude. That is not a such thing. And to see people try to gaslight, I talk about this on the Blaze all the time. This is the last point I'm gonna mention. It's insane how people have we've allowed these weirdos to try to weaponize self-harm. Even though the data does not even show that once they transition, it's not, let's say, having an impact on how they feel about themselves in that regard.
Okay, there's again a lot to
And this is data that he has shown in previous videos.
cover here, but starting off, you saying that transitioning has no impact is just plain wrong. And all the scientific consensus that exists supports that you're wrong. You're
using information from 2014, and you're using information that is 100% incorrect.
wrong. You give no evidence yourself because you know that there is none that's substantial
You didn't watch any of his previous videos because you're that much of a disingenuous piece of shit.
enough for you to make a claim like this. You don't use evidence because you know all the evidence would completely annihilate any argument you're trying to make. You're just wrong. You also say that there's no such thing as trans kids, which again is just plain false.
It's not false. It's 100% correct. There's no such thing as trans kids. They're called groomed kids by teachers and parents who want a virtue signal or get some kind of brownie points. How do you have a pansexual child as like that Disney executive that says they have a pansexual child? The fuck?
Where the fuck do you think trans adults come from? Most of them have been trans.
Trans adults come from being groomed as children who grow up later in life believing that they are the opposite gender. It's not a hard concept. It took me 5 seconds to say that. Dumbass.
Since they were young. You think people just decide to be transgender one day?
Yes. Or they're groomed into it.
Well, actually, you probably do, but you are also extremely ignorant because that's just not the case. You don't choose to be trans, it's who you are. And kids...
You definitely choose to be trans. There's no trans gene. You're not assigned a sex at birth. You're born a sex at birth. God, these people are fucking weird, man.
Can be trans too. Again, all the evidence completely shatters...
Next thing you know, these idiots are gonna say that there's trans animals. Like, that's how fucking retarded these people are.
Your arguments. But lastly, you claim that people just use kids to validate themselves. Now about
because they do. There's been multiple videos on accounts like Libs of TikTok where they do this exact thing, where they come out to their kids and confuse the hell out of them. Because again, they're impressionable and they're like sponges.
as well as their lines of thinking.
Airrick July is making lives worse for children. No, he's actually trying to save children from fucking creeps like you, who want to instill this bullshit in their head.
As well as their lines of thinking. But as I've mentioned many times already, and I'll gladly mention again to get it through your thick skull, it's not about making kids trans or using kids to morally grandstand. It's about protecting trans kids from discrimination.
Again, trans kids don't exist.
And trying to build a world where they can grow up and explore their identities in a
Kids don't need to explore their identities. Fucking weirdo. Like, you still don't get it. You say a bunch of stupid shit all the time. The only thing kids need to explore is how to be a kid. How to make friends. How to learn English. How to learn math. How to learn social studies. How to learn science. That's the only thing they need to explore.
safe and affirming environment, where they're not going to be judged, harassed, or hated for being who they are. This is what you stand.
None of those things happen to kids. Except by adults who want to confuse them into their weirdo ideology.
And for everything that is making life hard for trans kids, that's what you're doing. So yes,
definitely not. Because again, there's no such thing as trans kids, you weirdo.
Airrick, you're making lives worse for children. Think about that the next time you try to claim you care about them. Alright, I think that's all I'll say for Airrick and why his video is not only ignorant, but also promote.
Turf Nation could probably get sued by Airrick for a serious accusation made in this video. I won't quote it because it's too wild. Yeah. So, we'll move on to the last part of this video that I'm going to do, which is right up here. Where it says, I see July's army of Rand droid scumbags are coming in with their bad faith arguments. What about is the merest criticism of their bootlicking, emotionally stunted slur overlord? Because, you know, that's definitely what non-racists do, right? Time to give my rebuttals. You're just jealous of his success? True. Donald Trump and Richard Nixon both became president of the USA. We're not really jealous. You really are. This is why you're ankle biting at Airrick July, as you are. E.L. James has success with 50 Shades of Grey. Just because you're successful or right doesn't mean you will always make good things or have anything worthwhile to say. He made a pretty good comment considering he made $3.7 million. Says a lot. He's popular, so he must be right. You know who else is popular? The funny mustache man. Just because you're popular doesn't mean you're always right. You're a groomer, defender of groomers, and you just ousted yourself as a hypocritical bad guy from WW2 who is one bad day away from going on a harming spree, or just a stupid teenage edgelord free speech absolutist doesn't know jack shit about consequences. Yeah, because being a free speech absolutist, which by the way, I don't think that's how you spell it, but being a free speech absolutist is so terrible because mean words harm me. He doesn't hate minorities or he's a minority group. The black community has a massive problem with anti-alphabet sentiment. July just goes to prove it. He's not really against those people. He has fans that are part of that community. If he didn't hate minorities, he wouldn't use these things like degenerates or the BS. Think of the children appeal to emotion. He uses the word degenerates in the context that it's necessary to be used, and uses it correctly because, you know, words have meaning. Just as you WW2 people, piss weasels, are doing with your groomer and apologists for groomers' accusations. Yeah, because you guys act like you are. You say weirdo things about children and you're trying to indoctrinate them. That's why you're called a groomer. Being in a minority group didn't stop the likes of Bill Cosby, Condoleezza Rice, Ben Carson, Candace Owens, Blair White, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, and Milo Yiannopoulos being a bunch of ladder-hoisting assholes who want to make life shit for those they deem lesser. None of these people deem anyone lesser. Most of these people are live and let live type of people. You freaking idiots. And quit your weaponizing of racism against those criticizing. No amount of model minority posturing is going to save his sorry ass when his use to this and these expires. They always have plenty of minority groups to target when one is eradicated. He makes logical points. And they wonder why the U.S. education system is utter garbage. It's garbage because it's all indoctrination camps in the public school system, and the federal government is terrible at handling money. When you fuckers are incapable of critical thinking and worshipping grifting assholes like July, Ben Shapiro, Dennis Prager, none of them are grifters. They're not selling you an illegitimate product, which is what grifter means. But when you have someone calling someone else a grifter, they're typically the grifter. You're so gullible and hop down the U.S. exceptionalism that you can't see when you're being lied to. Airrick July is such some hack who stopped maturing at age 14. Doubt that. And has Ayn Rand, I don't know who that is, fist up his arrogant ladder hoisting ass and is nothing but a performing animal to Glenn Beck's organ grinder. But why am I not surprised he is worshipped by you? Nerds are nothing but bigoted, gatekeeping assholes with a victim complex. Yeah, because the nerds like their fandoms. The nerds are passionate about their fandoms, and assholes like you, or these people, should be kept out because you want to change what makes something what it is. So yes, you should fucking be gatekept because fuck you. Or you're just one of those popular kids who grew up and realized life has no meaning, so they resort to making the lives of those they don't like miserable just to own the libs. Yeah, that's not what's happening at all. It's bullshit lies. You're too scared to debate him. The marketplace of ideas is loaded of bullocks, and you guys know it. You don't debate these types of people. So Airrick July's that now. Okay, yeah, the libertarian anarcho-capitalist who says decentralization is great and abolish the federal government is definitely a fascist. You do what they did in World War II and do this. That clip from Layers of Log Soccer is a perfect illustration of my point. The sword represents them, goading us into debate. Ist and supposed libertarians like July, in other words, Republicans who smoke weed, want to legally fuck 12-year-olds. Wow. 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 I got a great title for this video. Or like rabid dogs. You wouldn't debate a rabid dog, so why would you debate? You wouldn't debate Airrick because you would get absolutely destroyed in a debate because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Based on this and based on what I've done with those clips, none of you idiots know anything about what you're talking about, dog. Not a goddamn clue. Not a fucking clue, dude. Holy fuck, wow. 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 I'm done. I have no other words for this. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. If you do like the video, hit the like button, comment what you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content, hit the bell for notifications, set it to all that we get notifications anytime I post a new video. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace.